James.
We're up to episode 4.
Oh, mate, we're rolling out.
I know. How cool.
It's gone well. It's gone well. We had a really good pod last one.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liam McKenzie. If you haven't listened to it, get onto that.
Get onto that. He gave us some good tips.
Yeah.
On some...
An extreme athlete.
Extreme
athlete.
Well, we'll talk about extreme today too.
We are, because...
It seems to be the theme at the moment.
Yeah. And thanks to the listener that requested it and put a challenge in the challenge hat, and it came back with going about an ice bath, and is it Josh was asking, he's looking at buying $150 ice bath, which I think that's actually cheap, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we said that last time, right? It doesn't really matter the cost, right? But it's a pretty cheap ice bath.
Yeah.
And it's probably a DIY one where you put the ice in yourself.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to go into a lot of the health benefits of ice, doing ice baths, and maybe some of the detriments to doing it as well, and some of the negative consequences of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, with a $150 ice bath is you probably need to go get a temperature control device.
Yeah.
You need to know what you're getting into. If it's too low, and we'll go into that. That's the only thing I'd say with something like that.
Yeah.
Is if the ice bath is too low of a temperature, and what that can do. So $150, you're probably looking at an insulated tank. You probably put it in your own water, your own ice, which is fine, but make sure it's got some sort of temperature gauge.
I think he was also getting at, is this just a gimmick? Because he sees it on Instagram, he sees it on TikTok, it's becoming really, really popular.
Well, that's huge at the moment, right?
Where's
it's
the
everywhere.
science at, you know? Yeah.
Where's Wim?
Where's Wim Hof? He started it, right? The Iceman.
Well,
in a way.
In a way. I think the breathing of it became what he became, super... famous for, because ice baths have been around for a while. It's been used in sports for a long time. Whether or not, whether or not he was the first to maybe make it popular, definitely the breathing. We all know about the Wim Hof breathing and the benefits that has. But his benefits of breathing don't have to be in cold immersion either. No, you can do breathing, just naturally in a normal environment,
which is a whole nother pod.
We won't go into that. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely Wim's side of it, and he's used his ability to control his breath and then control his parasympathetic nervous system. And then stop that sort of flight or fright response. Yeah. And then then goes into the ice, or sort of controls himself in that environment. Yeah. But I guess that's another pod.
Yeah, breathing's we won't go there.
Breathing's huge though, right?
Because if you really want to give the rogue treatment to breathing, that'll piss some people off.
Yeah. Have you ever been taught to breathe, James?
I have.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I have.
You don't though. You just start breathing.
But you know what? Going into an ice bath, I did one this morning, and going into an ice bath, all the concepts of breathing go out the window. The first few seconds, you're not even thinking about breathing, and it's not until you start to try and regulate your body, and then the mind over matter side of things, that the breathing does help. But mate, all out, everything I'd learnt, everything I'd ever been taught, everything I'd ever tried was all out the fucking window the first few seconds of doing an ice bath.
Now, have you been doing them though, or is this just the first time you've done it?
I've done a couple now.
I've done a couple.
What,
recently?
Yeah, so I did one this morning and I did one last week.
Okay, but it's okay.
It's new. It's still new.
So because this challenge came up, I actually started doing similar thing. We hadn't spoken about this, but even just doing the cold... I don't know cold blast. I think I saw it, read it in a study, but where you pretty much just put the shower to cold, right, in the morning. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. I'm they're holding on to the hot and the cold, and I'm just tempering it, and then I'm nah, a little bit more hot, and so I'm not even doing full cold.
Nah, you can't temper it.
I'm cold
you gotta
for
go full
2
cold.
hours afterwards.
Full cold.
Anyways, I don't know. Is this a craze or not? But I think obviously there's definitely a talent to it that, if you're between myself and Wim, there's a lot of people in between, right? But yeah, look, let's go into the science now. Let's go into science. I've looked at it. Looked into it a little bit. We've got some studies, and I think it's really interesting. Like, I mean, we know what cryotherapy does, and I guess that's what ice bath is about. You know, causing vasoconstriction of the blood vessels, which helps, remove those toxins, deoxygenated blood, or whatever.
But the biggest benefit, because you can vasoconstrict in lots of different ways, right?
Yes.
So the biggest benefit is the shock proteins that then get released. Right. So once your body goes into that vasoconstriction, and your brain and your body send out shock proteins.
Yeah.
The shock proteins are what actually gives us the biggest benefit of cryotherapy or even ice baths.
Yeah.
What that then does is then it helps clean the system. You're then able to get better recovery. That's where that whole science comes from. So the vasoconstriction part is what we feel. The shock protein is the biggest benefit.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, like the cryotherapy, I think that's been around for a while, but that's obviously, like you said, you can do it in many other ways. It doesn't have to be like a cold plunge and, freezing your legs off. But yeah, I think, so the other benefits, and there's a lot of talk about mental health as well, like, and how it can improve alertness, how it can improve concentration and mental health. Like I see that on my Instagram feed all the time, right?
Well, that's the thing, right?
How do you measure that? Like, is it improving mental health by going into an ice bath for 60 seconds?
No, let's be honest, it fucking doesn't. Come on. We're gonna sit here and say, look, but that's the social media aspect,
how well is that
right?
done though? Like,
that's the social media aspect.
Yeah, almost like cause and effect. Ice bath, improves mental health.
Yeah, look,
and then
I think,
where do you measure mental health though? I guess, but
well, look, obviously because it's on social media, like it's getting a big following at the moment, right?
Huge.
I'm with you. You see whether it's people doing the challenges, the ice bath challenges, or all those kind of things. I get that that's all over our feeds. People are talking about it, biohacking and all those kind of things. Anyone that's talking about improvements in health is using some sort of hot cold therapy, which, don't get me wrong, has huge benefits. I think that's why it's all over social media. But then, I think when we start then talking about mental health and what impact that has, I think it's too simple to say, I've done an ice bath, my mental health has improved. Yeah. Like, I just don't believe in that. I think there's more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we know the benefits with recovery. Like, and I know you've opened up Change, the new gym, and you've got ice baths there. Are they working well with the, like, with the training? And then, you said you did that this morning, right? You trained and then you jumped in the ice baths.
Yeah.
Is that for recovery? Is that to, like, feel fresher afterwards? Is it to...
Yeah, look, I think the reason why I've wanted to start doing ice baths was purely to try the biohacking side of things.
Yeah.
I've looked into it, read a little bit about, what kind of impact it can have in the short term. Straight after you're going, you do the ice bath, increasing obviously the body temperature back up after that, has thermogenic effects and all those kind of things, right?
I find that odd.
Yeah, look, it is.
I'm cold for hours afterwards.
but then that could be your circulation, right? Yeah. So maybe doing some hot cold therapy improves your circulation. So yeah, the reason why I started doing it wasn't because we put one in there, was because I wanted to test out the biohacking side of it. And look, I haven't done it enough yet, or maybe as frequently yet, to really notice any huge changes. So I do want to start doing it more frequently. I think Liam in the last podcast was saying like 12 minutes a week.
Getting up to 12 minutes a week,
Getting up to 12 minutes a week.
He said no more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, so 3 minutes at a time. So if you do it 4 times a week kind of thing. So I haven't done that yet. So I still want to build up my tolerance before I can really say that what kind of impact it's going to have. But from the science side of it, it seems really, really cool to try.
Yeah. I've got a couple of studies that I want to run by you, James.
Mm-hmm.
So they're small studies.
You do your research.
That's me, right? Anyway, someone's got to prepare for these pods.
I prepared. I went and did an ice bath.
You're going rogue, mate. You're going rogue.
I'm prepared.
You did the ice bath. That's right.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations.
We've talked about that,
we've spoken
right?
about this.
I think it's important to, because these studies that we're going to go through are going to be a snapshot of time, a snapshot of people, right?
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that have done their own research and their own studies, and they're talking about it,
like
right?
Liam was
on
talking
podcasts.
about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
He's talking about, like, speaking from experience.
Yeah.
You can't beat that, the experience that someone like that's
100%.
Right? Compared to a professional. But, look, if we dive into the sort of alertness part of it, okay, and I guess this is some components of the mental health, but in terms of these couple of studies looked at stress, anxiety, and the effectiveness of a cold plunge with those things, and like I said, alertness. And this was, really coincides with COVID, right? I mean, cold plunges really grew at that time.
Yeah.
And I guess some of these
viral then.
Went viral, right? And some of these things like stress, anxiety, and, with the pandemic and what have you, were heightened. And I guess this was a way to, like, okay, well, this is how you get out of it. I'm not sure. These studies were that look at those couple of things. So we've got one where 33 adults did a 5-minute cold plunge, and I was thinking 5-minute cold plunge, that must not have been that cold. But
wow.
Couldn't work there. Couldn't find that.
You couldn't find
the
temperature
exactly
was?
temperature,
Okay.
yeah. So so that increased their alertness, attention, decreased the perceived distress and anxiety. And that was just all done on sort of a subjective questionnaire, right? So I guess it comes down to, like, is that also potentially like a placebo? They just sort of, I feel better because I've done it now and I've achieved the goal.
Worry. You're awake after you do an ice plunge.
Oh.
You are awake.
But now I'm less stressed because I've...
Yeah, look,
Would you not be more stressed because you've just jumped in an ice bath? Would you be freaking out? When am I going to get warm?
Well, again, that comes down to the breathing, right?
Yeah.
If you're able to regulate your breath and all those kind of things, maybe, that has its impact. Like, you do feel different coming out of it. Take away the cold and you don't want to get to a hypothermic state, right?
Yeah.
But take away the fact that you come out of that bath and you feel cold.
Yeah.
Like, once you get your body back up to temperature, there is a feeling of feeling, that you feel good, you feel alert, you feel different. The only thing I guess I'm not saying this from any knowledge, like scientific knowledge, but it'd be interesting to see what impact once you have the breathing, or maybe you've got a study there for me, but once you get the breathing right and what it does to the vagal nerve. Because if we're going to talk about anxiety and those kind of things, like there's physical anxiety, where the body is putting you into an anxious state because the vagus nerve is overstimulated.
Yes.
But then there's also the mental side of it where you put yourself into a fight or flight state because of how you perceive things.
Yeah.
That can then trigger the vagal nerve, obviously. But, like, I'd question at what point are people in a physical or mental state of anxiety. I don't think if you're in a mental state of anxiety, going to an ice bath is going to fix that. But maybe there's some really good evidence that once you're affecting the vagal nerve, of course that's going to reduce anxiety.
You bring up a really good point. And
you got a study on that?
No, I don't. Sorry. But that's so interesting how you're splitting up between the physical and mental, because this, like I said before, we see it on social media and with this sort of pattern, the sort of celebrity status around, like, doing ice baths for mental health. It's probably different for every person, the reason why they're going to do it or why they feel better from it. Not just it could be the physical or it could be the mental, but to say that it's going to fix one or the other,
it's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
And if this study they're talking about, they're coming out, they're doing, what do they call it? Perceived
Yeah, it was just the
scores. Right?
Yeah, that was done after and
prior.
and prior. But yeah, look, obviously, there was a second study that was off the back of that one, and I think they were taking the piss here.
Let's give it the rogue treatment.
So they won't.
First of all, how were they taking the piss?
Because you just let me.
All right, go.
Who the hell wakes people up in the middle of the night, puts their hand in cold water for 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then takes their hand out and then asks them some math solving questions, right? This was to try and work out if it was like alertness, like attention, focus, right?
Yeah.
Does the cold therapy help here? Right, so they put their hand. So woke up middle of the night.
Quick question. Isn't there like an old wives' tale? If you put your hand in cold water, you piss the bed?
No, that's what I was saying. Take the piss. Well done.
So they literally were taking the piss.
That's right.
Okay, I get
it. That's right. Okay, well done.
Wait, so was there anything in that study about pissing the bed?
No, nothing about that. But look, it's only a small study. And who the hell is doing maths questions in the middle of the night? But they did find the people that were. That put their hand in versus the people that didn't put their hand in the cold and they just woke up and they would have been drowsy or whatever. Those were more, the ones that put their hand in were more focused, more alert, able to solve the questions better, et cetera, right? Yeah. There's so much to unpack there. I mean, like, what's the quality of sleep? How long are they sleeping for? And like, why the hell are we waking people up? And do they need to be alert straight away? Like, or is that a thing?
Let's just take it for face value, right? Without unpacking all those aspects, right? You put your hand, let's take away putting your hand in cold water, right? If I ran into your room and be like, H, quick, we got to go, we got to go bash the shit out of this bloke, right? You're up, you're out, you're mentally ready. Yeah. I think that comes back to the fight or flight. Are we then, when you're putting your hand in the cold water, what are you stimulating? What are you activating, right? Exactly. And that's a little bit different to putting your whole body in, right?
For sure.
Clearly, you're woken up with some sort of fight or flight response that makes you alert.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to be able to answer questions.
Adrenaline's going to go up. Yeah.
And do you know if they woke them up and then put their hand in, or they woke them up by putting their hand in?
No, they woke them up. They woke everyone up.
Yeah.
And then for half of them, they put their hand in the water.
Yeah.
And the other half didn't.
They put their hand in after they woke up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not during. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they didn't wet the bed.
Yeah, that's why they didn't wet the bed. Maybe that's on the other side of the bed at this point. Look, this study I actually found quite interesting because maybe we should bring it into business.
Okay, here we go.
This is groundbreaking, I think. Wow. Right? Over 3,000 office workers, so 3,000 participants. There's a fair good cohort there. They did and this is doable, a 30 or 60 or 90 second cold blast, which is pretty much in the shower. They've done their typical shower. Then at the end, they've turned hot completely off, cold only for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Don't ask for me for the 33,000 people split there. But they were doing one of the three. After 60 days, the office workers that were doing the cold blast showers took 29% less sick days than those that didn't.
Let's do this tomorrow.
Especially now. No, surely it would spike it if you did it now it might spike it initially sick days if people are cold and whatever. But overall, over the 60-day period, there was...
Well, this comes back to the scientific benefits of what happens when you go into that cold immersion, right? So, like I said, obviously the vasoconstriction, the shock proteins, there's probably a lot of other, chemical releases that are happening in the body that I think are going to have that kind of impact where maybe they're not getting as sick. They're going to think sickness is purely, how our body, is run down.
Yeah.
Our immune defenses, which there's no real scientific way of proving, our immune defenses is X because of Y, right? But we definitely know that, people that are run down, that are tired, that are, maybe not physically healthy, the types of foods that they eat have a huge impact on sickness, right? So you're literally going to the other extreme. It'd be interesting to see if you put a cohort of people that maybe weren't physically, healthy and did that to them, because that maybe then they maybe get more sick because their body's susceptible to it. Yeah. If the average person who's not extremely unhealthy did it, it then has its benefits, right? Yeah. That's why they're seeing maybe that 29% decrease, because, it's having a positive impact on like everything, their immune defenses, their alertness, all those kind of things that maybe change some habits and change some thought processes.
That's right. And you talk about change there, and could it just be the change in their routine now that, like, for those people, we don't know how many of them were actually already doing something similar before.
Well, let's assume it was not.
Like, okay. Well, if it was assuming it's not, then they're all changed. Like, they've all changed a habit there. Could that in itself, could that in itself just have helped, their immune health and,
Well, let's put it this way, right? Cold immersion and the benefits that we're talking about, those take out the cold immersion side and just look at those benefits. It's not like we can't get those benefits in other aspects of life.
Now that's the key.
So it could be the change, and the cold immersion the catalyst for that change.
Yeah. For those people that weren't getting those benefits elsewhere, and now they are.
And we've gone into a deep hole here,
Interesting.
You started with ice baths good for you.
So now we're going to be everything for you from now on. 30, 60 or 9. I'm going to start with 30. I couldn't even do 10 this morning. I was struggling.
30. You've got to start somewhere.
Let's do a cold blast. And then can you put it back to hot before you get out? Or is that cheating?
I don't know. Ask the study.
Oh, but I'm talking, our new rule.
Well, I don't know. Look, again, when I walk out of the cold bath, I feel good. Like there's a feeling there.
No, for sure.
But then you can, jump into a sauna. You can, do hot cold therapy has its benefits.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, we'll see.
You're just worried about doing it.
Yeah, I'm just worried about doing it.
You brought that study
I think I get the high because I've achieved something, not so much because of the. Yeah.
So, but then that's going to have its own benefits, right? Mentally and physically.
Yeah, it's like that first task of the day that you've ticked off.
Yeah,
it's like you're, that mindset of like, okay, I'm winning the morning, I'm winning the day, everything from here on. Whereas this morning I failed. I did 5-6 seconds and then I was like, no, turn it off. So I've lost from day one. But no, look, let's flip it though, right? Because I was looking into an article done by Professor Mike Tipton, and this was off the back of a death that occurred in the UK, and it's well known. Kelly Poole in 2022. No sort of. I guess this is the danger with ice baths. No known other conditions or anything. Went for an ice bath, jumped in, sudden cardiac arrhythmia, died. Got a headache straight away, I think, and then sort of like reported that. And that was the only thing that was reported, and then fell forward, later died. Now, Mike Tipton says, the professor says that, cold immersion's been sort of done for decades. But 60% of deaths in cold water happen in the first minute of immersion.
Yeah. Wow.
He talks about you're taking a tropical animal and dropping it into 12 degrees of water, of whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's not a risk-free activity. And so he's on the side of like, what are we doing?
But that, and again,
especially if you don't know what's hidden. People that have heart issues and have known conditions and know that they should be avoiding those sort of positions. Okay, but take them out. This is someone in the UK that had no idea. So. And then it can happen so quick in the first minute.
And this is why, it's scary how viral it's gone on social media, right? Because of that exact reason that not everyone can just jump in.
That's right.
Without I guess, now that I think about it, there's probably no real test to go, hey, should you do this or should you not?
Yeah.
There's no way of saying, well, you have, obviously if you've got known conditions and known issues, there's probably, a reason for you not to do an ice bath, especially if they're heart conditions or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any known conditions, that's a huge risk, right?
Sure.
And a lot of people that even that ice bucket challenge for motor neuron disease, right? Like at what point, putting that body into that kind of shock, obviously it's a little different to whole body immersion, but just that instant shock, what impact does that have?
Yeah, because obviously we know heart rate's going to go right up straight away. And depending on how they take on that stress could, from one way or the other.
100%.
Yeah, can cure mental health or could actually be,
detrimental.
End in death. No. Look, it's interesting though. It's definitely not spoken about by in the social media world. Like we see these trends, we see these the celebrities doing it, and we see that sort of influence. But really, just because of that, because it's popular, doesn't mean it's going to be effective.
No, and obviously, practice. Like that stat of 60% of people that have an adverse effect have it within the first minute. Man. And a lot of people will try to push 30 seconds to a minute that first time, right? And but like anything, obviously over time you probably condition your body to it. It's not going to have as much of you're always going to have that shock of it, but maybe you're able to deal with it a little bit better. But the fact that you jump in for the first time, no known conditions, feel completely fine, and bang, body goes into that flight or flight response, shock proteins released, vasoconstriction. Who knows what that's going to have. Yeah.
And so it's an interesting challenge that we were set from Josh, like, the mental health aspect. Is this, because it's on social media, is that also not playing into mental health detrimentally as well? Because it's like, okay, everyone else is doing it. Should I be doing it? But I'm scared to do it. I have apprehension about it. I don't want to invest in it. Yeah. But I guess there's that social pressure, which there is with a lot of things on social media at the moment.
I'm going to go a little left of field here, right? But, if you having mental health issues, right, social media is probably part of it.
That's right. Exactly.
And then this is where it's gone viral.
Exactly.
And we're treating like the symptom of it, with another symptom, right? At the end of the day, get off social media. Maybe that might help. I think
seeing a false sense of reality.
Yeah, looking for a magic pill again. Yeah. You're looking for a magic bullet to fix a complex problem that's created by a very vastly different, social landscape that we're in. Mental health, has obviously varying degrees, but mental health is a social issue. Yeah. Right? And we now are finding a social trend on social media that is in an isolated screen. Like, how crazy is that? And we're talking about mental health.
It's madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think obviously to sort of summarize, there are benefits which we went through. And I think you touched on a really good point there that conditioning the body is super important, because if you don't have a known, if you're looking to get into it for those benefits, not being the I saw it on social media, everyone's doing it, I must do it, for the benefits of being a little bit more alert and recovery and all those sort of things, and controlling your breath, which is a whole nother podcast, but and getting control over that sort of parasympathetic nervous system. I think if you're looking at getting into those, you'd have to slowly condition yourself so that your body is aware of what's happening.
Correct.
Starting off with a lukewarm shower, then slowly, progressing 5 seconds, 10 seconds before just jumping into a cold plunge. That's going to be safer, especially if you don't know you don't have any known conditions that you're sort of aware about that could be an issue. If you were to go into that flight or fright response. like cardiac issues. So definitely has some benefits, but not curing mental.
Like we said at the start.
Not curing mental health.
I think that's a stretch at this point in time.
We have to be a bit more sensible about it.
There's probably not enough information to be able to utilize it for that reason. And I think there's so many other, maybe more useful ways of dealing with mental health than an ice bath.
That's right. Yeah.
But
great marketing tool though, James.
Scientifically, or you want to jump into that, but scientifically, great for your body.
Yes,
ice immersion is amazing.
Yes.
So okay, you want to talk about the marketing?
It's a great marketing tool because it's all over social media. It's it's out there. It's in the algorithms. It's in front of mind. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
Are people are we feeding off that?
People are capitalizing. Yeah,
capitalizing on it, for sure.
Absolutely. It's a trend at the moment. We can sit here and talk about, like I said, the benefits to the body, which are huge. And, especially for longevity of life, we know that, right? But is it then maybe getting, overcapitalized because it's a trend? And, it's a good way to bring attention to something because, like anything in marketing, like anything in business, you just need someone to be hooked on something. And at the moment, that's a hook. There's so many out there on social media, but right now you put a hook on anything to do with the ice bath and someone's watching it. Whether it's laughing, So I think it's a great marketing tool, but maybe it's a stretch too because it's all those other detrimental aspects.
For sure. Yeah. You'd have to weigh it up, and I think you're getting into it now a little bit. I'm going to try with the cold. I wanted
to try it. Yeah.
I'm going to try with the cold blast.
Cold blast.
10 seconds. Let's do that in the morning for now.
Well, sauna. You do a sauna.
I do. After a run on a Friday, I do jump into the water in the ocean, and then I do the cold showers just on the side of the beach there. That is the coldest moment ever. But because it's at the end, and I know I'm going to get warm, it's okay, and it's a feeling of accomplishment. I'm okay with it. But I've only done that once, and it's a quick press the button, and then it only holds for 3 seconds. So. And I'm running in and out, you know what I mean?
Well, the running probably keeps you warm.
Yeah, exactly.
You're running in and out. You're not feeling the cold.
That's right. That's good. Oh, James, this has been a really interesting conversation. I think there's so much to unpack here, and it's that's where we're at with the trends these days. And but I want before we wrap up, I want to ask you about the Euros.
Oh yeah, they're on at the moment.
I know it's not. I'm sure there's plenty of people doing ice baths in the Euros, for recovery and what have you. I'm sure recovery. It's mandatory now, right?
Recovery,
yeah. They're in the change rooms these days, right?
I wonder if you asked an athlete, do you jump in the ice bath for mental health, what their response would be.
Oh my gosh, we got to find someone. We're going to ask them,
ask.
Right? Yeah. So. Euros.
Yes.
Tell me, are you happy with the start? Who do you sort of see as has surprised you or is looking to take it out? What do you
surprised me? No, I think the teams that have won, that's not surprising. Maybe what is surprising, I don't know. I thought England and Portugal were a little off.
Yeah.
It's the first game of a tournament, so can't really judge.
Yeah.
But considering I said Portugal was the dark horse, didn't I?
You did.
I didn't think they started very well.
No, but that's okay. First game nerves, I guess, as well. They got the win.
Yeah.
I like Germany though. They look.
Germany looked good,
and
didn't they?
Home, they look.
Germany looked good. Germany were.
They had home? 11v10 half the majority. Half the game or something.
Germany will do well. They'll go deep into the tournament. Yeah. It's Germany, of course they will, and at home.
Yeah, England disappointed me. Just the way they play, But look, you get disappointed when you win 1-0. So I don't know.
You know what? Portugal have a stacked team, right? You look at that team, you're like, there is stars all over that team.
They're exciting.
They are exciting. But they're a bit boring this morning.
To be fair, I didn't watch it. But I just see the players. I think surely.
Yeah, but it's exciting. Absolutely, they're exciting players, but they didn't play exciting. I didn't think. Same with England though.
It's the same as
England have stacked team all over the park. Except for the goalkeeper. I don't think he's that good. But anyway, we'll go there.
Best of the bunch, I think.
Yeah. But yeah. And then, I don't know, like, maybe it's hard. Did you watch the goals from Turkey?
No.
Oh, my word.
Really?
They won 3-1. First 2 goals. Fuck me.
Wow.
One's are like a volley into the top corner.
Really?
And the other one's a curled shot, like, round the keeper. Man.
Turkey, eh?
You got to watch the Turkey
horse?
highlights. Again, like, that's the thing, right? They don't have a stacked team.
Never know.
But they scored some good goals. I didn't watch the whole game. I just watched the highlights. So I couldn't tell you.
Gonna go watch the highlights.
But yeah, watching England play, watching Portugal play, I wasn't impressed.
We could be eating our words when this podcast rolls out in a few weeks. But no, it's been a good start. It's been interesting.
I
isn't
reckon.
It?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the hat, the famous hat. We've got another.
Can't keep calling it a hat, man. It's not a hat.
It was meant to be a hat. It's a shoe.
It's not a hat. It's a shoe.
Right. Here we go. So we've had some. Thank you to all the viewers.
You got your boots on again.
Yeah. Nah. Bit of a cowboy.
Clearly.
Thank you to all the viewers that have put a challenge into the hat.
It's a boot.
The boot. And after each pod, please let us know what challenge you'd like to set us. The cold plunge, thanks to Josh for that one. Mm-hmm. It's up to you if you want to go buy that $150 cold ice bath, Josh. But we've gone through the benefits of it. Don't think it's going to cure everything though.
Some good benefits.
Some really good benefits. Think about it, Josh. Especially $150. That's pretty good.
$150, good.
Let's pick out the next one. Next challenge.
You're picking that up.
All right, I'm picking it up. You're not putting
there's a few in there.
Ooh, which one did I get? Righto, here we go. This is from Maddie. Oh my God, look at the writing here. It says, "Hi Harry and James." Yeah, well done.
Oh, thanks.
I hear of a wizard therapist at Switch.
Come on.
Is that me? No. By the name of Guru Gav.
Nah, who's put this in?
He has some rogue ways. Yeah, fair play. That I'd love to hear about. Get him on the pod and go rogue.
Well, look, in terms of a challenge, that's an easy one. Well, actually, he doesn't like being in there.
Well, thanks, Maddie, for that one. He will not like being in front of camera. So that's going to be the challenge is to get him on. But we'll try and work out.
It's a challenge to find him.
We'll try.
It's a challenge to get him on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get him on.
Okay.
Let's challenge him and go rogue with him with his methods.
That's gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be wild. He definitely an interesting character.
I don't think that one's gonna go for an hour though. We might need 2 hours or 3 hours on that one.
Oh yeah, we might have to narrow it down in a couple of.
You have to put your shoe on the table every time too.
Sorry, Simon.
Simon's gonna call the table now.
All right, James. Thanks again.
Thanks, H.
All right, that's the cold plunge done.
Cold plunge.
I'm looking forward to talking to Guru Gav. Yeah. I'll see you for the next one.
Done. Thanks, guys.
Bye.